Hey guys, Dr. Cycle UroCoach. I'm partnering with Medtronic Pelvic Health to talk about symptoms associated with bowel and bladder incontinence. Stay tuned. Hey guys, Dr. Cycle UroCoach. So in this video, I want to talk about some of the symptoms of bowel and bladder incontinence. But please first like, subscribe, comment. We want to hear what you guys want to hear us talk about. Okay, so what does that mean? Incontinence means the leakage of either stool or urine. Okay, and what are some warning signs associated with it? Oftentimes in the urinary system, individuals will experience urgency or frequency. What is urinary urgency? Urgency is this feeling like, man, if I don't make it to the bathroom in time, I'm going to leak. And frequency is going more frequently than you would prefer, and it negatively affects your quality of life. So those are the symptoms of urgency and frequency. Bowel urgency is similar in that regard, in that you feel like you got to run to this toilet, and if you don't make it to the toilet, you may leak stool, okay? Now remember, these symptoms are very, very common, all right? 1 out of 6 individuals have issues with urinary incontinence, and 1 out of 12 individuals have issues with bowel incontinence. And I bring that up because you all should feel empowered to talk to your healthcare provider about these symptoms because they're so darn common. Another symptom I want to talk about, which is a reason why some individuals are leaking urine, is something called non-obstructive urinary retention. So what does this mean? This means that if you think about your bladder like a pitcher of water, and if you keep adding water to that pitcher that is already full, it's going to leak water out. The same thing happens in this scenario of non-obstructive urinary retention, meaning that your bladder is already full. And so when urine travels from the kidney into the bladder, that bladder is so full that the excess urine is going to spill out. And this is a big deal, and this can be potentially detrimental to your kidneys, because if you think about it, your bladder is sitting below your ureters, which are the tubes that drain urine from the kidney down to the bladder. And if the bladder is too full, that urine can back up to the kidneys. Now, it's worth mentioning there's a couple different kinds of retention of urine. I'm specifically talking right now about non-obstructive urinary retention. And that's different than obstructive urinary retention, because in obstructive urinary retention, there is some type of physical entity that's making it so that your bladder cannot empty properly. In men, oftentimes that's the prostate, right? The prostate sits in front of the bladder, and when it sits in front of the bladder can't empty, and that's obstructive urinary retention. In women, oftentimes that's prolapse of the bladder or prolapse of other pelvic organs. Specifically, if the bladder is prolapsed or falling in front of the urethra, urine can't push out. And when urine can't push out, the bladder overfills. And I bring this up because non-obstructive urinary retention can be treated with sacral neuromodulation. One of the reasons why it's important to bring this up with your healthcare provider is because these symptoms tend to be progressive. They get worse in general and not better. So how do you do that? How do you bring it up with your healthcare provider? So one thing that we oftentimes will tell people is start by tracking your symptoms, right? How often you're going, how often you're having accidents, how many times you feel like you got to run to the bathroom, and you can bring this information with you to your healthcare provider and have a rational discussion about it. Thereafter, the healthcare provider will talk to you about different options, whether sometimes it's lifestyle modifications, sometimes it's medications, and sometimes it's advanced therapies like sacral neuromodulation, which is essentially trying to restore the proper communication between the nerves that are near the bladder and the bladder itself. But the number one thing I want you to take away from this is that you don't have to live with these symptoms. They're very, very common. Bring it up with your healthcare provider. If you're interested in taking the next step, I put a link below for Medtronic Pelvic Health Physician Finder so that you can get relief from these symptoms. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We appreciate it.